Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, if you're married or thinking about getting married, you're going to want to watch this next segment. We're going to be talking about altering your marriage with an expert next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, you guys have heard the statistic that half of all marriages end in divorce. I am happily married to the love of my life, 22 years now, and I see her being my lifelong soulmate, but I know there are so many marriages that are in trouble right now. And to talk about that, Eric Wooten with Altered Marriage. Thanks for coming on the show.
Jeff, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, first I want to talk about the name of your organization, because altered, people think you, but it's altered. What does that mean?
Yeah, I just really wanted to kind of take people back to where it started, right? It starts at the altar, and I think a lot of people show up at the altar thinking about what they're going to get, you know, this new spouse and a best friend and all the fantastic stuff. But the altar was typically a place where you came to sacrifice, where you came to give. And so for me, it's just a consistent reminder that that marriage is going to go well if you came to serve, not if you came to get something.
Before we get into some tips, I want the audience to get to know you better, because we've got a couple of pictures of you and your bride. Is that college?
Yeah, that was college. And just for those who may not have remembered, the mullet was cool at one point.
You rocked it, man.
Yeah.
And is that you guys today?
Yeah. We're looking a little better now. Yeah.
All right. One of the things I love about you, Eric, is that you're very honest and transparent. And so part of your ministry is sharing your story.
Sure.
So, not every second of your marriage has been blissful.
No, probably more not than have been. So, yeah, I think we got married young, right out of college, and I think part of my passion comes from nobody told me what it was really about. And, you know, I think everybody goes into it, and I felt like people kind of had their fingers crossed behind their back, and were like, oh, you guys will be great. This is going to be fantastic. And we had no idea what we were really getting into. And so we really struggled for probably first 10 years of marriage, just trying to figure out our differences and manage things. And again, I think a lot of it was just unrealistic, unhealthy expectations that we thought marriage was supposed to look like, which wasn't the reality.
Sure.
And so we struggled, yeah.
So, and you've written this book, Relation Shots.
Yeah.
I want to hear what the shots stand for.
Yeah, the idea was just some quick shots on relationships, some topics and ideas that I think are practical that can really help people. And so I have a YouTube channel called Relation Shots, and I took 52 of what I felt were the most pertinent ideas and put them in a book. So it's a quick 3-page chapters with some questions for couples, and they can really apply it. Yeah.
Sure. I also want to go to your website and scroll down your website, because you're a busy man. You've got a lot going on. Retreats, coaching. Talk more about what Altered Marriage is all about.
Yeah, I just, again, I believe in a couple things. I believe in people getting practical resources that they can actually apply in their relationship. I think a lot of times we're given theory and go, oh, that sounds great, but doesn't work for me. And so I wanted some practical resources. And then I also believe strongly in community. I think every couple needs some other couples around them, which is why the majority of what I do, a membership, classes, retreats, are with a group of couples. And I think there's power in shared story.
Sure, and I think Eric is the guy that the media goes to all the time when they need advice. And I saw a nice piece recently on WFAA. Let's roll it.
Okay, we've been talking about this all morning. Trust, if it's broken, can you rebuild it? And now we're bringing in the expert to get some answers on breaking trust. This happens in relationships so often, and it can be challenging for many couples to get through it. The question is, can we rebuild that trust? Our next guest says yes.
Eric Wooten is president of Altered Marriage, and he joins us with more. And you just walked over and said, oh, I'm so sorry to see so many people who don't.
Everyone gave up. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's tempting to give up because it's one of the most painful things I think that happens in a relationship. What are the most common reasons you see that people decide to lie to a significant other in the first place?
Yeah, I think that's where I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, we've all lied, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think we'd have a little more grace, but no, I think people lie, for acceptance. Sometimes people lie to brag. I think the fishing stories, right? People lie to brag or look good. I think sometimes people lie to avoid conflict. I think sometimes people lie because they fear losing closeness in a relationship. And then, some people just lie because they're evil.
Well, there you go. And hopefully that,
selfish,
Hopefully that last one doesn't pertain to your relationships at home.
Right.
All right, so question. Lies can be building. It can be infidelity. It can be finance. It can be so many different things. In your experience, when folks finally do come in, the lies confronted, can this be an opportunity for growth? Can this be a positive? It's like, oh, we're putting it all out there.
Absolutely. Because like you were saying before, I think that they had to do some work. That
Right,
some
and
work
it's not
needs
easy.
to be done. Yeah.
It's not easy at all. So, okay, so you actually have 5 tips on what people can do to rebuild trust. Go for it. What's the first one?
Yeah, I think number 1 is just take full accountability. If you start blaming other people, blaming circumstances, saying, well, I lied, but, and here's the tough part, because I think this maybe goes to your question, Hannah. Sometimes it is not just personal, but relational. Now, nobody can make you lie, right? But
Right,
you can
that is a
create
choice.
an environment where you don't reward somebody for being honest, right? If every time I'm honest with you, you make me pay, you punish me, you withdraw. Not that you can make me lie, but you can create an environment where I might be motivated to go, listen, if I tell you the truth, you're going to punish me. If I don't, maybe there's a 50-50 chance I don't. So I'm not saying you can make them lie, but you can definitely create an environment where you don't reward honesty.
But that's taking accountability across the board here.
Sure.
So for the liar and for the recipient, which that can be tough. Okay, next tip.
Evaluate yourself. And this goes back to, why'd you lie? I think if I'm lying because I need acceptance, maybe I got some self-worth stuff I need to work on. Maybe if I lie because I fear losing closeness, do I have some codependency issues? Maybe if I lie to look good, I've got some stuff going on inside of me. So evaluate yourself.
That was kind of what I was getting at, is relationships don't always work out, and it's not, there's no obligation to love somebody. You may just fall out of love or whatever. But the lying, that is, that becomes a personal choice. It's like, wait a minute, why did I lie? Why didn't I just tell the truth here? That's where the work comes in, I think.
Right?
Third tip.
Commit to unwavering honesty. Listen, if you're trying to rebuild trust, 2 weeks later you lie again, we're done, right? We're right back to step 1. So I think you've just got to be committed to, at all costs.
Yeah, but I
I'm gonna
see
be
so many
honest.
women get stuck in the cycle of, okay, I'll believe you one more time. And then one more time becomes 2 more times. And then, is there a place where how do you know for a woman to I'm done?
Yeah, I think it's a pattern, especially, there's obviously a difference between dating and marriage. If you're dating and somebody has a pattern, leave.
Well, and also if something is chronic versus it is one specific situation, I think you have to look at it. One thing that you love to do is journal. And so I think journaling, if you go back and you look, oh, okay, repeat, that's when you kind of see.
That's really helpful, because you can see a pattern, and it's the pattern that is important.
Next piece of advice?
Be patient. It takes time. See,
What?
I think that's
It's not a quick fix?
Yeah, come on. That was
it.
last week. I don't lie anymore, right? Get over it. So you got to be patient. I think being patient shows you value the other person. You can empathize with their hurt and their struggling. So be patient.
Last tip.
Last tip is just stay consistent. Consistent is key to relationship, right? If you are consistent over time, people can trust you again. If you're not, they're going to have a hard time.
Right, because it does have to be earned back.
Absolutely.
At that point.
It takes time.
This has been
Unfortunately.
fantastic practical advice. Where can people find you if they want to get more
Yeah,
information?
alteredmarriage.com, or my YouTube channel is Relation Shots. Tons of free stuff on there.
Oh, fantastic.
And the topic is regaining trust, and you were confessing to me that you had some challenges in your marriage in which trust was broken.
Yeah.
Can you share?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we struggled the first 10 years, and just shy of our 10-year anniversary, my wife shared that she had stepped outside the marriage, and so. That's one of those moments they don't prepare you for, right? And you have to decide the vows I made on the altar. Do I want to walk those out? Do we want to extend forgiveness and rebuild? And so that was a moment for us to really dig in and do the hard work of rebuilding trust. And 29 years in, we're still here.
And you share that story from the stage when you talk.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful because so many people who are in the business of counseling portray this perfect life.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're showing your flaws, I think it makes you and your wife just real.
Yeah, and again, I think that's probably been one of my frustrations over the years has been, I think when you look at the church has really over spiritualized relationship and kind of set people up for failure. And I think clearly the world has over romanticized marriage. And so we've got these two faulty views that people are operating from. And I think back to your stat at the start, that's why, just under half of couples are not making it.
Right. I also urge you to follow Eric on all his social media platforms because he is a prolific content creator. You're always coming up with these great tips. Here's one he made.
All right, let's talk acceptance today. Acceptance is a key characteristic in any healthy relationship. Everybody I know desires to be accepted for who they are. In fact, many people actually fear the opposite, which is rejection. And a fear of rejection leads to all kinds of unhealthy behaviors in a relationship. Things like accusation and jealousy and control and manipulation. We want to be accepted for who they are. Your spouse desires to be accepted, not because they cook well, not because you think they're good looking, not because you think they work hard, but simply because of who they are. So today I want you to look for an opportunity to express acceptance towards your spouse, not because of anything they've done, but simply because of who they are. Things like, I love you, I'm grateful for you, I enjoy hanging out with you, are all ways to express acceptance. So go express acceptance today.
All right, Eric, what are some fundamental things that you got to get right in a marriage?
Yeah, I think there's three pillars, three keys to great marriages: intentionality, community, and personal responsibility. And I could break those down or we can leave them alone. But
Sure.
yeah, so I just think intentionality, don't believe the lie that healthy relationships just spontaneously occur. We have to be intentional, especially when you get married and have kids. Whatever needs to be there, we need to be intentional. If we need to schedule it, if we need to plan it. Community, again, I think I said this before, but I think every couple needs to be surrounded by great couples who can help them. That we needed community when we went through infidelity. We wouldn't have made that on our own. And then personal responsibility. Many times the couples who are not making it, it's not the relationship that's the issue. It's one or both people who have woundedness and stuff unhealed, trauma from the past that prevent them from having a healthy relationship. So we not only have a relational responsibility, I think we have a personal responsibility to deal with our stuff.
Wow, what a great segment. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to end with the website, which is alteredmarriage.com. The great Eric Wooten. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.